October 31st, 2023 meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Do I have a motion on the Clerk General?
So moved, and yes.
Yes, and there's some requisitions.
They're fine, so moved. And yes.
Yes, and there's some items not on the consent agenda.
There is. The first one, I have a resolution to waive the water tap fees for the City of Middletown Fire Station number 82.
So moved. And yes.
Yes,
The next one is to appoint Susan Walther, Deputy County Administrator, to the Warren County Regional Planning Commission as alternate to Commissioner Shannon Jones.
So moved. Yes.
yes,
Next one is to create the new Tourism and Economic Development Support Fund 2213.
So moved. And yes.
yes,
And the last one is an add-on. I have a resolution to enter into a consulting agreement with Empire Weather Consulting on behalf of the Warren County Engineer.
So moved. And yes.
yes.
That's all that I have.
Great. Next item of business, we have Joel King, who's here from the Warren County Career Center, Superintendent, and Kathy McMonigal, the Treasurer. Is that you? Yeah. Good morning. Come on up.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit this morning about some things that are happening at the Career Center. So going into my second year as superintendent at the Career Center, and the question I've probably gotten asked the most in the last year is, what exactly do you guys do at the Career Center? So a lot of people know our main campus and know a lot of the programs that we offer, but really what we do is we offer career and technical education for students, hands-on experiences so they can explore career fields and see if this is the path that they want to go. We offer credentials and certifications to show that those students have mastered the different skills that are required in those programs. I could talk a really long time about it. I love Career Tech, love the Career Center, but I've got a video of some students that talk about their programs and why they chose the Career Center, and they do a much better job than I could possibly do standing up here. So I will try to play this.
Before coming to this place, I genuinely had no sort of drive or anything to do anything with my life.
I've made a lot of mistakes, but coming here I think was one of the best things I could have done, because if I would have stayed at my own school, I don't think I'd be in high school right now.
I chose the Warren County Career Center for graphics because I've always had a super deep love for art.
It sounded really cool, so I gave it a try. I wanted to try something new, and I fell in love with the idea of becoming a nurse.
Every time we go into class, Mr. Norris is always super upbeat. You can just tell he's so excited to be able to introduce new stuff to us. And it's definitely made me more excited to do some of the projects, just seeing how excited he gets.
Miss Weinberg made class 1,000 times more fun and a way set up to where it felt more natural. So I don't dread coming here, and I think that's why I retain a lot of the information, especially when we go aid at Atrium Medical Center. It just becomes a fun way to learn.
I relate to everyone because they're all focused on a certain career. They're all focused on their future plans. We're all learning together, so we're all in the same boat, you know?
Once you get to know your classmates, it becomes more like a family than a classroom. You guys learn to work together and you do everything together for 2.5 hours every day.
I made a lot of new friends that I wouldn't have expected to meet outside of school. Everybody is in a different lab, so they're all career oriented. They know what path they want to go down.
Mr. Burgess and the Career Center have both motivated me to find something that I didn't know I would enjoy and I can see myself doing for the rest of my life.
When I came here, I learned how to use Photoshop, and I've been able to use a professional camera to go out and take pictures with, and I've completely expanded my variety of what I can do.
To help prepare, they give us certifications. They offer CCP classes to help pay for college. They give out scholarships through Sinclair, and it just helps you make it more affordable for college.
I actually learned a lot more doing stuff hands-on rather than sitting in the class.
It's it becomes muscle memory because you practice everything over and over until you don't even have to think about it, you just do it.
Coming here has made me more mature, driven, focused. It's given me more of a positive outlook on life. I've actually been able to say, I can do this. I can get this done.
I'm Michael Weinkoop.
My name is Lily Curry.
I'm Nate Jackson.
I'm Brandon Richardson.
I'm Natalie Moore.
My name's Ava Collodi.
I am Michael Kinney.
And this is my why.
So every time I watch that video, I'm always super inspired by those students. And what's interesting is they all had a different reason why they chose the Career Center, why they chose the career field. And as you listen, it's not because, hey, I want to go straight to work. Some of them want to go to college. Some of them want to go to work. Some of them figure out it's not what they want to do, and they figure out what the next step is. And so when we talk about career technical education, it's giving those students an opportunity to figure out what it looks like for their future. When we talk about the Career Center, something that over the last year I've had an opportunity to talk to people about is all the things that we do at the Career Center. So a lot of times people just think of the Career Center as the campus that's at 48 and 122. That's our main campus. We have adult education and high school programs there, but we also have adult education and high school programs at other locations. And so when we talk about adult education, that's a question I've gotten quite a bit too, is what exactly is adult education? The easiest way I can describe adult education is we do the same things that happen at a post-secondary institution. So an adult education, OTC, Ohio Technical Center, is considered a post-secondary institution. So we do the same things that Sinclair does. The only difference is we don't offer the academic pieces to be able to get an associate's degree. However, a student that completes an adult education program can take what they've gotten and transfer into a community college. And so when we talk about our programs, we have adult education programs and high school programs also at our Atrium Health Science campus. So in between Atrium Hospital and the Middletown YMCA, we have a campus where we offer those programs. Adult education also has Aspire ESOL classes that we do at the One Stop Center in downtown Lebanon. And then on the high school side, we obviously have the programs that I've talked about and you saw the students. We also have what we call satellite programs. So a satellite program is career technical hands-on education courses that are offered in our high schools and middle schools throughout Warren County, including Bishop Fenwick High School. So these programs are an opportunity. While we would love every student to come to main campus or to Atrium for a program, we realize that's not always going to be the case. And we, though, feel very passionate that the students should still have an opportunity to access those programs. So that's what the creation of those satellite programs are. So we have digital media arts, Project Lead the Way, which is pre-engineering, lots of other opportunities for students. And then another thing that we have through the Career Center is Project Search. And we're very fortunate and thankful for the county to be able to allow us to have a Project Search site here at the Warren County Government Campus. Project Search gives students an opportunity that have deferred their diploma to work with a job coach, to learn job skills, social skills, to be able to become employed when they do accept their diploma. So in addition to the Warren County Government Campus, we also have students at Otterbein Retirement Village, and it's a great opportunity for those students. The other reason that I wanted to speak this morning is we do have a ballot issue coming up next week, and I have a little disclaimer here. I'm just here to merely present facts, not to try to influence anybody one way or the other, but explain what the ballot issue is for. So the Board of Education was approached last spring by the Ohio Facility for Construction Commission, OFCC. If you're familiar with OFCC, they have two basically buckets of money, one for K-12, one for career tech, have a long list of items that they have to assess, including projections for enrollment before they make an offer to any district. So they approached the Career Center and the board discussed what the assessment looked like and what the options would be, and really what were we trying to address by working with OFCC to potentially do a project. And we talked about what that would be. We really looked at three areas. The first area we looked at was increasing student capacity. So not only at the Career Center, but all over the state, we're seeing a huge increase in students that want to access career technical education. In the last 5 years at the Career Center, though, our number of applications have increased dramatically, to the point that last year we had over 800 students apply for only 534 spots. So when you do the math, 1 in every 3 students that applied to the Career Center last year, we had to deny because we did not have the capacity to be able to take those students. The next piece that we wanted to look at is being able to adapt to the economic growth. So the Career Center opened in 1976, and in 1976, a little over 80,000 people in Warren County. In 2020 census, there were over 240,000 people. County has grown, continues to grow, which is a great thing. And we want to be able to ensure that we're able to adapt to that economic growth and provide the training to high school students and adult students in the programs that we're able to offer. And that's what takes us to the third point is we want to look at increasing our program offerings. So right now we've expanded and added all the programs that we can possibly offer at the current campuses. And being able to move forward with this project would allow us to add about 4 to 5 new programs. Obviously, there are things that are happening very quickly in our area and region as far as jobs. One of the things that we're looking at is with electrical vehicles and with the manufacturing and the automation that's taking place, we want to ensure that we're able to train high school students and adult students to enter the workforce and be able to attract and retain businesses that want to come to our area. So when we looked at what the offer was from OFCC, it's a co-funded project to build a brand new campus, 1,100 student campus. We would be able to use our current facilities for adult education. So one of the things that we hear more and more from businesses and from students on the adult education side is they would like to be able to do programs during the day when their children are at school, because obviously there are some childcare issues, and especially when you talk about adult education, unless they have a family member that can watch their children from say 5:30 to 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night, it's hard to access those programs. So the co-funded project, the state would be providing a little less than 25%. The bond is to generate the portion that we would need to come up with $67,300,000.
For capital costs?
Yes, capital costs.
I didn't understand why you were, childcare, how that was integrating into a capital cost.
No, so sorry, let me clarify. So the bond is just for the capital cost to build the new building. And so building a new building would allow us to use the current facility to operate adult education programs during the day, helping to address some of the concerns we've heard from students that say, I can't access a program because at night I don't have someone to watch my children. So being able to run those adult education programs during the day would help address that. When we look at the bond issue itself, it's 0.841 mils total, but the way it breaks out is the 0.641 is to generate the $67,300,000. So for a $100,000 home, that's $22.44. When you're working with OFCC, you have to have a required maintenance fund. And the best way to describe that maintenance fund is that it is kind of an insurance piece to make sure that we're able to operate and maintain the facility for at least 23 years without having to come back and ask for any additional operating dollars from the community. As a career center, there were only 3 ways that legally we could generate that 1.5%. The first option was someone to donate $1.2 to $1.3 million a year for 23 years. We didn't know anybody that had that kind of money laying around. So the next option was you could tie it into a bond, and we did not feel like that was the best fiscal decision for taxpayers to bond that piece. So we looked at the third option, which is a permanent improvement levy that was going to cost $7 a year for a $100,000 home. So total of $29.44 for a $100,000 home is what we're looking at to generate our portion of the co-funded project. Again, with this project, this is just for capital expenses. This is not any type of operating expense, and it's not asking to do anything else. It's just to build the building, to make sure we have the equipment in the building, and we do not anticipate having to come back out for any type of operating expenses. We're very fiscally sound at this point, and the increased student enrollment would cover the operating costs that we would incur. The other question I get sometimes, as Kathy is passing that out, it's a flyer that has additional information and a link to a website that we have that has more information. We do have plenty of land at our current site to be able to build, and we would keep the new building as close to the existing facility as possible so that we could utilize and maximize everything that we already have on the site.
So it's a $90 million project?
Yes.
And so what, Joel, can you provide some context for us in terms of if the bond is approved, when the new building would be operating, and what would the capacity be both in the adult education facility in terms of increased capacity, as well as the school-based, the high school-based capacity?
Yes, so on the high school side, this would give us a new 1,100 student campus. All of our health science program, the
So
secondary.
that would be an increased capacity, so it would be about doubling your capacity today.
Correct, and we would be able to add about 4 or 5 new programs, depending on what programs we were to offer. And so that would also allow us to bring, right now, our health science programs on the high school side are at that Atrium campus. And what we've heard from students and families is it's become a barrier for some students that are in the Kings and Little Miami area because that campus is so close to Franklin. So it would allow us to centralize all of our high school programs and increase our capacity. On the adult education side, it would more than double what we're doing on the adult education side because we can run programming during the day and night. We also would be able to increase our customized training for companies. So a lot of times we have companies that would like to upskill, reskill their employees. Unless they're able to do those in the evening, we really can't offer that opportunity. So this would allow us to be able to offer a whole new set of training as well on the adult education side.
So you would see that going from serving how many adults currently to how many after your?
So the adult education numbers in full-time programs right now are a little less than 500. We have a lot of short-term programs as well, so there's a lot of students that are involved, and that's where I think we could see a really big increase is in our short-term program offerings and customized trainings to companies.
Shannon, I do want to clarify that 534 is the entry level, like the junior level program, so it doesn't quite double our capacity. We're at capacity right now at about 900, and this would take us to about 1,100.
Okay, so
1,200 students.
535 is the K, or the high school. And then you're saying there's another 350 or so, or 400 in adults.
Whenever,
Yes.
for juniors and the 534 is the junior level, is the
Yes.
juniors, and then they go into seniors. So at our high school, we're at about 900, Joel, what, 900 to 950?
We're about 900 students on the high school side, and then the other piece is so there's a new, it's called OTC Plus, so it's like College Credit Plus, but for career centers. So any program that we would be oversubscribed on the high school side, with the adult education being able to run during the day now, we would have those students be able to access programming in that as well.
So if there's 900, what was the number you said, 900?
Roughly 900 students.
And in both years, so you're talking about an additional 200 students, which is just an additional 100 students per year. So it's only really getting at a third of your rejected students.
Well, we would hope to be
It's a
able
lot
to.
of money for only
Yeah.
being able to get that much capacity.
We would hope to be able to have those students move into the adult education through the OTC Plus. That would be the other piece we would look at.
Because the availability would be there to operate it during the day.
Who's your appointing authority, or your guys are independent, you can put whatever levies on you want?
They have a board.
Yeah, Board of Education decides what we would put on.
It's on this November?
Yes, sir.
Bobby Grice, I see, is here from the board. I don't know, Bobby, if you want to add anything about the board.
I just think,
You have to come, please, come in to the microphone, please.
I just think that when you have to turn students away, that's a sad situation. And I think the board is behind this completely. Like Joel was saying, some of the students that we can't get in our building, our new building, can go and do the adult ed and still get credit. So it's a win-win. I think we'll hit more students than what the numbers show. And all the new things that are coming down the pike, like the new, the electric vehicle, we're going to try to start a program to innovate on that. So we're really, we're excited about this. It's not that much money per household, and I know it's a bad time for people right now, but if you figure, it's not even a mill. So we're hoping, and that's what we're here for.
I'm still just trying to get my arms around. So it's going to cost the average homeowner in Warren County $120 a year or something. A $90 million project is ginormous, and as Commissioner Jones said, you're not really biting off the biggest chunk of your tournament. So I'm just trying to get the scale of a $90 million project versus the campus that I see today. That, from a physical standpoint, that's huge, isn't it? Or is it not that huge because you're putting a lot of money into the labs or something?
Yeah, so the equipment that goes into the labs is a huge portion of the cost. I'd have to go back and look at that piece, but it's basically giving us a whole new campus and would be able to then use that existing facility. So it is a huge cost, but the biggest cost obviously is going to be just the fact that it's a new building and the equipment that's going to go inside of that building.
And the plan is to use, so that was interesting. So it's basically you're building a new campus for the high school, and then the existing campus you're doing solely for adult?
So adult, yes, the adult education would be able to run day and night, and that's where we would be able to pick up the additional students that weren't able to get into high school programs. It would also give us the ability to, like I said, in innovating new programs on the high school side while also keeping the existing programs on the adult education and looking at what we could do with those as well.
So much like, because you used the comparison of College Credit Plus, so instead of those students in their junior and senior year being at the Career Center, that they would remain with their homes, their home-based school for all of the academic programming, but then may come and take a course or two at the adult facility to get a certification or what have you that also counts towards their high school graduation requirement, but gives them career insight and some technical skills along the way.
Yes, and one of the things we're learning from high school students is we hear students say, I would really like to go to the Career Center, but I don't know that I want to go there for 2 years. So being able to still offer the 2-year programs that the students in the video talked about, but then also being able to offer short-term programs, short-term credentials for students, and trying to find innovative ways to do that for those students.
And the Career Center was started in 1976. We have had no new money. So that's a thing to consider also.
So how many students do you currently have enrolled?
So currently on the high school side for juniors and seniors, we have about 900 students. And that doesn't include any of the satellite programs. We have several thousand students involved in satellite programs throughout the county as well.
Right, so you're going to basically build a new campus to take the student body that you currently have. And then you're going to expand that so that you can take on how many more students?
At least 200 more students, and again, it would depend on the programs that we're able to offer. It could be more than that, it could be 1,200 students, but given what OFCC has shared with us to this point, it would be at least an additional 200 students.
So are you turning away students now? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, so we last year had to turn away over 300 students, and we're averaging about, over the last 5 years, around 200 students a year that are being turned away.
So is that, and that's for all levels? I mean, it's a 2-year program, is that right?
Correct.
All right, so what do you have? About half of your students are in the first year and half of your students are in the second year?
Correct.
And so you're turning away students that would be beginning the first year.
Correct.
Okay, so you would want to ultimately have 200 more students in each class, right? So
Correct.
400 more students.
Yes.
So that's what you're expanding your building size to
Yes.
accommodate?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the Career Center, and I think that the trades are definitely something that societally we need to encourage when you hear about all the inflationary issues out of Washington and debt forgiveness for college students of people that's not, they anticipated repaying. And now all of a sudden government's trying to make that free versus this is a real societal need. I think some of our priorities are off, and I encourage this. I mean, my thoughts are the manufacturing landscape in Ohio is about to change with the building of the new Intel plant. $20 billion plant right up the road. We are right at the verge of being outside of their supplier range to where there will be ancillary suppliers to that plant that develop here. I would encourage you to look at some sort of a manufacturing tech type of program, someone that can actually work in, not necessarily electrical engineers, but people that can actually put these things together and training them to do that, because I think there will be a tremendous demand for that. Probably more so, in my opinion, than electric vehicles, specifically for Warren County. I mean, I like to put the common sense hat on, and as much as I support what you're doing, the math still does seem a little bit off to me, that a $90 million project to have a 20% increase in capacity amongst high school kids from 900 to 11 or 1,200 just seems like a boatload of money to not really address the capacity issue that you're facing, to be honest with you.
I appreciate that. And on the manufacturing side, yes, that's something we would look. So we have advanced manufacturing and robotics right now, just one program, and would love to be able to expand that into different opportunities that would help support whatever jobs are needed, so.
Okay, thank you so much.
Commissioner Young, part of that is just the beast of vocational education too. If you put 30 students into a regular education classroom, you're buying desks and chairs like this, and the cost per square foot is not that high. But we just remodeled a welding lab for 30 welders, and it was close to $3 million because of the cost of the equipment, and to get our students prepared for the future, so that they know how to go out and be productive in society and earn an income and give back to the community. So, the cost of the $90 million is a lot of that is in the equipment that is required in a career tech lab versus the educational classrooms that you're probably used to when you go into your high schools at your home schools. So it does take a lot more money. The square foot price does go up when you're talking about a vocational school. And that's part of why OFCC has two different pots of money, I suspect. One for vocational.
And I think if you guys take a hard look at what the placement opportunities coming out of specific programs, that's one of the issues with some of the higher education of, I want to be, in English literature, which is great, or a philosophy, how are those degrees actually being placed versus you're very specific, and there is such a tremendous demand for HVAC, welding, heavy equipment operators, auto mechanics, advanced manufacturing type of jobs. Is that where you're strategically funding the most of? Because again, that's why we really like working with Sinclair a lot of times, is they're very responsive to the community needs of what specifically do we need in Warren County. These are the job openings, we have to have these, and they adjust to try to fill some of those goals. And I'm just saying, if we're all trying to be a little bit visionary and look into the future, we know what's coming. Yeah. There are ancillary computer suppliers coming to Warren County, period. And I think we need to be prepared for that.
Yeah, so we have a business advisory group for every single one of our programs, so they're always meeting with their employers and talking about the opportunities. Last year, 96% of the students that graduated from the Career Center were placed, so we have to do a post-program follow-up 6 months after they graduate to see where those students are at. So that's something we're always talking about. We've increased our work-based learning hours for students. So last year, over 20% of the students participated in work-based learning of at least 250 hours or more. So a lot of times for students, one of the barriers becoming placed is their driver's license or their ability to afford a vehicle. And so we're trying to find ways and working with employers. But I mean, at this point, if you're a student that can successfully complete a program and you're willing to go to work, there are plenty of jobs out there. And I think that's what's been really exciting in the last couple years at the Career Center, is seeing the students that are going out and employers that are willing to hire students that are under 18. So we have a lot of employers who come in and meet with students during their junior year now to say, hey, if you want to come work for us during the summer, we'll have you come work for us, and then you could even work full-time your senior year if we can figure out your academics. So,
and we absolutely do listen to the community and the advisory council. A few years ago, the Career Center was considering winding down its heavy equipment program, but the community said, no, that's a demand, that's a need we absolutely need. And so we have, under Joel's leadership, geared it back up, and at a cost of about $250,000 a year, it is in full force at our secondary level. It's fully operational.
It's one of the programs,
yeah.
because we had a wait list and we had the demand from employers in the region, we upped our capacity on that. So we hired a lab assistant to help be able to supervise students, and we're able to take close to 30 students a year. So I think right now we have 27 in the junior level and 28 in the senior level right now.
And I take it you've got a program where the actual companies that are engaged in that business can do things like donate you old equipment they've already depreciated, or things like that, hey, it's almost their minor leagues of getting their...
Yeah, and some of those programs in heavy equipment specifically, we started this year a lease with Ohio Cat, because the cost to keep some of that equipment up to date and running when it gets a little bit older in life was starting to, it's cheaper for us to lease, and also gives students the most up-to-date equipment to be able to ensure that when they go out, employers have employees that can do everything they need them to do from day one.
Just got to get the automotive side to take care of the heavy equipment.
Yes.
But it's still $250,000 a year. I mean, that's, again, just another example of how career tech education, our building is a $90 million building versus maybe a regular high school. That might be a $55 million building.
Well, thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
the
for your time.
Being here. Do I have an emotion to go into executive session pending litigation with legal counsel present pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 121.22 G3?
Yes.
And yes?
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.